Welcome to the Holiday Harmony workshop. I am Carolyn Sharp, and I am thrilled to be here to support you all in having the holidays that you really love and feeling more connected, more joy, more love, more gratitude through the holidays, rather than letting the chaos of the holidays pull you apart. I am the founder of the Fired Up Marriage Accelerator, which is my landmark coaching program based out of my 25 years as a therapist and a coach and a professor of grad school and a clinical director and all of that going back 30 some years. And I am passionate about helping couples build the healthiest relationship because I really believe us learning how to have healthy relationships ripples out to our communities and our greater world. So that's a little bit about me. I am also the parent of 4 now almost all young adults. Well, they're sort of all young adults. I have one left in his senior year in high school. The rest are either in college or on their own. I have 2 dogs, 4 cats, 2 businesses. My husband has 3 jobs. So we live a pretty frenetic, crazy life and manage to have a really loving, connected relationship. So a lot of what I have based my programs around is through all of my professional experience. It is also through all of my personal experience. I am remarried, so I have been through a failed marriage as well as many young adult failed relationships. I have some trauma in my history and have recovered from much of it, though healing takes a lifetime. And so it is also my personal experiences combined with my professional wisdom and experience that leads me to create all of these resources for you. So some housekeeping. Some of you are watching this live. Some of you are watching this in replay. Some of you have signed up in advance of tonight. Some of you will be signing up in the days to come when you start to see the first bumps of the holidays and go, you know what, that holiday workshop probably is a good idea for us to download. And so I welcome all of you. You will hear me pause in the workshop. And when I edit this, I am going to cut some of the pauses that I put in place to allow the live participants to do that so that the video isn't super, super long. So if you hit a pause in an exercise, I want you to hit pause, do the exercise. When I encourage you to discuss things, hit pause on the player, talk as long as you want, and continue. And so that is the first bit. Those of you live with me tonight, you will be given the opportunity to go through this fully. For those of you live, this doesn't relate to the people that are watching the replay. Your cameras are off, your microphones are off, and your chat ability is only to me so that your privacy is fully protected. In developing these online courses, I've found that couples have a greater preference for participating if they know that they're not going to run into anybody they know in the Zoom room, because, here's my classic silliness and sarcasm. God forbid anybody know that anybody need help in relationship. There's all kinds of garbage about that you shouldn't need help around your relationship, or it says something negative about you. So anyway, your cameras are off, your microphones are off, and your chat, if you post questions, they are just to me. So when I answer questions at the end of the live broadcast, which I will edit out for those that aren't here, unless I really think they're valuable and not too specific to the people that ask them, it will be all responded to anonymously so that I am not exposing anybody. But if you you can change your name to anonymous member, that's fine. So let's get started. Welcome. And I have planned this workshop because the holidays are a time of joy and fun and celebration and family and parties and presents and religious meaning. And and community and all of that. And all of those things combine to add stress and pressure to couples that already are, in many cases, overwhelmed. Whether you have kids or don't, whether you have a super high pressure job or don't, we are nearing the end of the calendar year, which for most people in most professions adds a level of stress. There's lots of projects that are getting finalized. People in the restaurant industry are having sort of their chaotic times. Retail is certainly crazy. So there is lots and lots going on. And over my many years supporting couples and families, I see the holidays. We go into the holidays with all of these hopes and expectations, and yet we don't talk about it together. And this leads to disappointment, frustration, struggle, conflict, pain. And everything that I do, the Fire It Up Marriage Accelerator, is about teaching you the proactive things that you can do to prevent the big struggles and big pain that I have had a career healing. I am known for healing the most screwed up things that couples come into, or find themselves in, or create among themselves. And I am trying to prevent this. And the truth is that you can either spend time preventing problems, or you can spend time cleaning them up. All relationships take work, and you are either spending that work productively, or you are spending it in rumination and worry and resentment and struggle and unproductive conversations, passive aggression, all of this stuff, negotiations that go nowhere. And I want you to be free from all of that going into the holidays. I want you to have the tools to go through the holidays and just be focused on the joy and the gratitude and the love and the family and the celebration of all of the things that the holidays bring. So let's get into it. I've probably just shared a lot of things that are already I'm going to be covering in slides. So what we're going to talk about tonight, the key to healthy relationships, because I want you to have the foundation of what I talk about. It'll be very brief and very quick. If you want more about that, and you are on my mailing list, which now you all are, because that's how you got into this, I'm going to be making an announcement in the next couple of days about the Fired Up Marriage Accelerator, the group program, which is the less intensive group focus, where it is a self-study program with live coaching, with cameras off or cameras on, where you get to get coached by me and get support around your particular issues. But it is deeply discounted in gratitude for all that my community has provided support to me, with a whole bunch of bonuses. So I'm giving you a little snippet of healthy relationships, so that you have that as we talk forward. So we're all on the same page. Then we're going to talk about how the holidays can mess us up, the opportunity that exists in the chaos to learn and grow closer, and how to hack the system so that you are spending less time in struggle than you are in connection. The tricks for success in doing this, creating a game plan, going to help you do that, and then the support that you get. And those of you that have signed up for this are going to get the resources that I created for this workshop, so that you can take the work that we have done. There's a PDF that you can either print out, or you can use the digital copy to go through with your partner. And the secret bonus support that's here is that while this is specific to the holidays, doing this, getting good at this process, will help you in all areas of your relationship. Okay. So, all right, first exercise. So I want you to turn and face each other, get yourselves comfortable. If you need to go get chairs or whatever, you can pause this and get yourselves on cushions facing each other. You want to be able to be in a comfortable distance from each other, where you can see each other with relaxed eye contact. And what do I mean by relaxed eye contact? If you've watched any of my TikToks or Reels or lives, you know that I am huge on eye contact. It's one of the most powerful tricks that we have to reconnecting. Our brains actually wire together through eye contact. And when I say eye contact, I am not just talking about vision, because the visually impaired can use this trick as well. As long as our bodies are facing each other, as long as our optic nerves are facing each other, if you close your eyes and you have your eyes pointed at each other, you are tricking the brain into connecting in that way. So you don't actually have to be able to see each other. For those of you that are visually impaired or who have autism spectrum or some other neurodiversity that makes eye contact very challenging, you are not staring at each other. You are not holding fixed eye contact without blinking or looking away. It is meant to be relaxed. So come into a comfortable seated position with gentle eye contact with one another. And you're just going to take a few easy, deep breaths. Breathing in and breathing out. And in the next breathing in, I want you to come into this space together, releasing the stress of the day, the noisiness and craziness of your life, and come into this space together, the space of your relationship together. And with the next inhale and exhale, I want you to bring your gratitude and love for each other for being willing to take this time together, to do this work together. And now I want you, as you continue to look at each other, to think of something you love about the upcoming holidays. Maybe it's the green bean casserole, a personal favorite of mine. Filling stockings late into the night for your guests or your kids or your nieces and nephews, and how fun it is to do that and to watch them unpack their stocking. Whether it's lighting the first menorah candle and the ritual and beauty in that tradition. Bring something that is a personal favorite of yours. Listening to, finally getting to turn on the carols and the holiday music. How strict are you about a date that you're finally allowed to listen to Christmas music? So bring it to mind and just really connect to the feeling of enjoyment you have of that part of the holidays. Feel it in your body and notice, where do you feel that sense of enjoyment about the holidays in your body? And now, look at your partner and notice how they look, having imagined for themselves what they enjoy. Do they look amused, happy? Did talking about this bring up grief? Because this holiday brings with it missing somebody. What do you notice? And now, bring to mind a part of the holidays that feels connecting to the two of you. Maybe it's counting down to midnight and that midnight kiss. Maybe it's going skiing. Maybe it's packing those stockings together. Maybe it's preparing a dish for Thanksgiving. Bring to mind something that feels connecting, fun, enjoyable for the two of you. And again, connect into how you feel remembering those moments. And notice how your partner looks thinking of those moments. And whether you imagine they're thinking of the same moment or a different moment. You guys aren't in that moment. No one is likely eating green bean casserole at this moment. Maybe you're watching it the day after Thanksgiving because Thanksgiving was a little rough and you're consoling yourself with the green bean casserole. But you're not in the moment exactly now. And yet, with your imagination, with your presence, you were able to bring that feeling to mind. And you have access to that at any moment. So you can use this exercise. You can come back to it. And I will, in my email to you all, I will tell you the minute marker for this exercise so that you can go and repeat it. And it's something that you could do every morning for a few minutes of just breathing together and bringing to mind something you love. Doing this exercise obviously does not cancel all of the struggle. Maybe as you thought about the New Year's kiss, shortly after thinking about that, you thought about the misunderstanding or that your partner got too drunk or whatever it is that happened to you as you remembered that. That tells you that our emotions can shift very quickly. And it's okay that you feel one thing and then you feel another. You can bring yourself back to the positive connection in your mind, in your body, in your heart for one another, even in the midst of struggle. The expectation isn't all joy, all gratitude, all connection, or all struggle. What I'm going to teach you and help you learn to do is to hold both so that you can connect even in the midst of struggle. Okay. So the relationship ho-ho-hos. This is my little primer to healthy relationships. And again, if you're interested in going deeper and learning more and learning things from the foundation up and building the strongest relationship, reach out for either my one-on-one coaching or for the Fired Up Marriage Accelerator. But so for the primer, our health depends on our relationship being healthy. That is not just an idea that I have. I'm not talking about codependence. I'm talking about hard science that shows that when we are in relationship, if we are in a committed, intimate relationship, if that relationship is going well, our health is better than when our relationship is going poorly. We have less stress hormones. We have less immune system problems. We have less high blood pressure problems, headaches, all sorts of stuff. We do better. Our health is better when we are happier in our relationship. So our health literally depends on our relationships being healthy for those of us in relationship. Second, everything we learn is through relationship. Every challenge that you have is learned in how you were taught to do it, whether you were taught to say please and thank you, whether you were taught to open the door for people, whether you were taught to serve yourself first versus someone else, whether you were taught to communicate through yelling or shutting down, all of that was learned through relationship, and all of that is healed through relationship. So you hold in your power the ability to heal each other in all of the difficult and annoying behaviors that you have, because the source of them was through relationships, and it heals through relationships. That does not mean you don't have personal responsibility for your own healing, but most of what you need in any of the dynamics that are in your relationship need to be healed and created and transformed through your relationship. So creating a vital relationship is more about investing your intention, your commitment, and your energy rather than gobs of time. This is not about spending hours and hours and hours working on things. When couples tell me that they're spending hours and hours and hours struggling with it, it's because they are not doing it efficiently and effectively. And learning how to focus their energy in the right way is the path through. So that is a lot of what I'm going to be teaching you. And again, you can use all of these tools to do this in other circumstances outside of holidays. All for $47. All right. So the key is that intention to create secure functioning, to create safety, mutuality, acceptance, and joy into the fabric of your relationship in little tiny actions that you do every day. Because it's not about quantity, it's about quality. It's about the intention and the presence you bring to the actions that you take that makes the difference, for good or for bad. So you want to bring yourself fully present to each new moment. And what I mean by that is allowing new moments to be created. You have a disagreement, you feel frustrated, you feel hurt, you feel angry. You can move from that moment to the next. We tend to carry shit forward. Hey, I made it into like the first 10 minutes before I swore. You guys are so lucky. 20 minutes. you want to allow new moments to be created. Allow yourself to learn and do things differently. I have a lot of couples that are like, it's always been this way, it's always going to be that way. And they don't recognize the little changes that they can make and are making. And there's a little saying of mine, the relationship of your imagination and dreams are within your grasp. And it just comes down to the little actions that you take. Okay, so quickly, what is secure functioning? In everything we offer, the goal is always secure functioning. This is a reference to attachment theory. All of us have different attachment styles. And our attachment style is very simply the way we were trained to be in relationship, and thus our style of being in relationship. And it is, unfortunately, in sort of popular culture and popular reference, used in a very binary way, that you are either insecure or you are securely attached. You are either healthy or unhealthy in your attachment style. And that is false. That is wrong. Attachment style is viewed over a continuum where secure attachment is seen in the middle, with insecure avoidant on one end and insecure anxious on the other. But in truth, it's more like a sphere or a cube where you have different areas and levels of how insecure you feel, the need for connection, the need for time, and the amount of stress that exists for you. And there are many ways to be healthy. I personally am on the avoidance side of secure. My husband is on the anxious side of secure. We are both healthy individuals, but within that, the goal is to create a secure functioning relationship where our relationship creates health to support both of us in our unique ways, our unique styles of being in relationship. So a relationship should be supportive of each partner's growth and development as individuals, and allow each partner to feel safe to be themselves and have their needs met. These are aspirational, and no one can do this all the time. You're not going to be good at your relationship all the time. It's a matter of committing to the growth necessary to continue to evolve and become better at it. Another phrase from me: in a healthy relationship, there's room to make mistakes, lose each other, return, and reconnect. Okay, holidays. It's the most wonderful time of the year. There's my husband and I being goofy with our Santa hats. Are we having fun yet? There is intense pressure to have the best time of your life during the holidays. I personally hate New Year's Eve because of the amount of pressure that is put on having the best, funnest party, having the best time. And so I prefer to go to bed at like 8 or 9 on New Year's Eve. So that's me. But there is intense pressure about all of the holidays on top of the year end and all of the stuff that I referenced at the start of this. And you want to connect with each other and understand what it is about to you so that you can carry it forward. Is it about gratitude and family, your faith, your communities, your children? What is it about for you, and how can you bring that forward? That's where the intentionality and getting clear about your purpose together, your goals together, becomes really, really helpful. Okay. In all of those challenges, in the pressure, in the added tasks, in the added people, in the added events, in the added chores and gift buying and gift wrapping and meal prep, there is going to be challenge. There is opportunity in every challenge you have to use the challenge to grow and connect and improve your relationship, or to let it create separation. Both of you have a role to play in deciding, what are you going to do with the challenge in front of you? Are you going to allow that challenge to get between you? Or are you guys going to unite as a team and focus your energy on, okay, this is stressful. Okay, you're being annoying. Okay, this isn't how I want you to behave, but I'm going to find a way to stay in connection with you. All human beings in all circumstances have needs that overlap and pull each other apart. So as you look at that little graphic, that little Venn diagram, do you see circles moving together or moving apart? Those are not the natural colors, and what would happen between red and green. It would be a hideous color, but I made them holiday colors. You're welcome. So you can look at those as circles moving together and squishing each other, or you can see them as pulling apart. And the holidays do the same thing. Do they move you together or move you apart? You guys have the control over whether they move you together or move you apart. And that is not to say that you won't have struggle. It's not to say that there won't be times that you don't need to be joined at the hip, but you can be connected in disconnection. And it is a choice and an intention that you set to make sure that we go through this with our eye toward growing and learning and doing it better than we did last year, or not letting ourselves get into a knockdown, drag out fight, or whatever it is. We want to go through the holidays and have more fun together, whatever your goals are. So the key to all of this is being aware. That says away. Typo. I've gone through these slides no less than like 100 times, and I still miss a typo. The key is in being aware of the challenges in front of you and the opportunities present in those challenges, and working with those challenges rather than against them. Okay. So there's my husband and I in Winthrop, cross-country skiing, which is where we got married. I was looking to see, is that our wedding day? So how to maximize the holidays for success. You want to, know yourselves. Who you are right now as a couple helps you become clear about the people involved and invested. Where are you at, each of you? Where's your partner at right now with their personal growth, development, challenge, exhaustion level, work stress, all of that sort of stuff? I can feel a cough coming on, excuse me. What are they good at? What are they really kicking ass at right now? And what are they really struggling with? Timeliness, organization, being thoughtful with their words. When I get tired and overwhelmed, my New York filter or my New York edge comes out, and I am a little less thoughtful of the fact that I live in the Pacific Northwest, where people aren't used to the bluntness with which I live my life. So knowing each other, knowing your partner helps you have clarity and understanding for what you're going to be bringing forward into the process. One of the units in the Fired Up Marriage Accelerator, the oxygen portion, is about creating full acceptance for who your partner is and where they're at, because we often struggle against each other and waste a lot of time trying to get our partners to be different than they are. Never works, versus working with what is, and then being able to negotiate, given that this is where you are at and I love you, how can we make this work for us? So that's the first step. Second step, clarify your purpose. And this is another phase in the Fired Up Marriage Accelerator. Your purpose is the reason for being together and what our relationship stands for. You want to have that front of mind when you are going through the holidays. What is our purpose going through the holidays together? Do we want to give our kids the most wonderful holiday season? Do we want to create time for rest and restoration for us and our relationship? Do we want to celebrate family? Do we want to contribute to the community? What do we want? What is our purpose together as a couple going through this? That helps guide you in all of your choices. Then, separate from purpose is sort of the overarching umbrella, the big sort of, what is the word that I'm looking for? Now I can't remember the big umbrella statement for who you are. Beneath that are your goals, your specific goals about what you want together. What do you want to see, achieve, and do together? What do you want to do apart? If you need time for relaxation, if you want to spend time with a friend or a family member on your time off from work, if you want to do one-on-one things with your kids, what are your goals as individuals and as couples, so that you can get clear and there aren't misunderstandings about, I thought we were doing this. Well, we didn't talk about it. And so there is struggle because I thought you were going here and I thought we were going there. And so it's really important and really powerful and helpful to clarify what your goals are for the holidays. Where are you going as a couple, and how will you know you have arrived? again, that goal, we want to get through the season feeling more joy and connection to each other. How will you know that you are achieving that? How will you know that your partner is experiencing that? How will your partner know that you are experiencing that? Getting clear, because again, we carry these assumptions that something's fine with my partner because they don't say anything. And that's a miss for a lot of couples. They are too dependent on these verbal things that maybe I'm not so verbal. They carry these assumptions forward without checking it out and becoming explicit. So that's step 3, very powerful and helpful. Once you have done that, once you have identified and clarified your goals together, then you identify the areas for growth. What are going to be the challenges in this? We want to feel more connected, but at Thanksgiving, my family and your family are going to be there and they tend to pull us apart. How are we going to manage that? What are those potential challenges? What do you need from each other to get through that? And then with all of those ingredients, you create a plan. Create the formula and the steps to ensure your success and your growth together as a couple. Does this sound overwhelming? Are you guys like, screw this, that's too much work? Let me urge you to do this proactively, because think back to last Thanksgiving or last Hanukkah or whatever it was, and the big dust up you had between you and how long that fight lasted. Couples will regularly tell me, oh, we don't have time to do this work, to work on a relationship, to do the homework, the assignments you assign. And then they come into a meeting or a session with me and describe a 4-hour, 2-day fight that they had. You're spending the time. You're just not spending it well. So I urge you to take some time. You can break this up into steps to do these pieces, and it will pay off in how you go through the holidays. All right, so we're going to get into the specific circumstances. Do you like my cat in the Santa suit? That's Tim. Tim is not very happy about this. And I have a picture in that exact same suit with my dog, and it is like 10 sizes too small, but it is hilarious. It may be later in these slides. All right, so there are specific challenges unique to the holidays. And this is where this workshop will get specific and help you. But again, outside of the holidays, you can take any challenge and plug it into these. So challenge number 1, family and outside influences. Each of you were taught something about the holidays from your family. What it is meant to be, how it is meant to go, what their traditions should be. And we all carry that in our DNA, basically. And we carry those assumptions that I remember when my husband and I were first together, a decade ago, basically. And our first Christmas, he was adamant that he was going to put the lights on because his mother had made him do it his whole life. And I watched him, and it was sort of like the men hang the Christmas lights, and I've always hung the Christmas lights. It was a family event. I know how to hang Christmas lights, and I watched him hang lights, and he did it in the most bizarre way I've ever seen in my life. And he assumed that's the way everybody hangs lights. His lights were wrapped around very deep into the trunk of the tree. They were not on the branches at all. They were wrapped around the trunk of the tree. And I remember watching this and going, fascinating. And the next year, he wasn't there. And so I hung the lights, and his kids were watching me, and they're like, you're doing it wrong. I'm like, no, most people do it this way. What? So anyway, there are all kinds, long story. There are all kinds of assumptions we carry that the way our family taught us to do it, to orient toward a holiday or a tradition, is right. This causes conflict because obviously we weren't raised in the same family. So that's one aspect of the challenge. Further, the expectations of us within our families often conflict with our own and our chosen families, not only about the traditions, but about behavior, about time together, about how gifts are given or money is spent or affection or any of those things. And when we spend extended amounts of time with those family members, we tend to revert to being more like our biological or our raised family than we do about our chosen family. And this causes conflict and hurt feelings. Often couples fail to protect their partner against those influences because it is stressful to be around another person. Our own family is challenging. Being around another person's family, we tend to get left out. And so couples fail to make plans and tools for getting through those challenges. So that's one. And we're going to go into these in a little bit more detail. Our beliefs and feelings, AKA the meaning of the holidays. And I list this as a challenge because, again, from how we were raised, what is important to us about the holidays is different from partner to partner. And couples fail to understand this about each other, that what is most important about the time between December or whatever, 15th and 30th is the time off from work and the rest and restoration. Other people feel like it's about community and family. And so if partners aren't clear about that, that can really bump up against each other. And you want to learn, how do we support each other in getting out of the holidays? What is most important to you? What feels most, nurturing to who you are? Challenge number 3, travel and hosting. Visiting with people are typically part of the holidays, and they are typically a stressful part of the holidays. From traveling across the country to going to work holiday parties to hosting family and friends, this adds a level of stress and pressure as it is external eyes on your relationship. It is managing life through a airport or traffic, and all the ways that we behave in those circumstances, and it causes a lot of stress. So how do you manage the conflicting needs of hosting, traveling, being a guest with the needs of your relationship? And then finally, these are not in any particular order of difficulty or importance. You may have all of them. You may have one of them. You take what applies to you. Equity and fairness. There are so many holiday tasks. In addition to the regular run-of-the-mill managing of life, you have special holiday meals, you have gift buying, sending, wrapping, picking out, shopping, all of that stuff, all of the additional shopping for food, cleaning if you're hosting, packing if you're traveling, millions of things. That's a little hyperbolic, it's not millions. And how do you manage those so that it feels fair and balanced for both of you? Because there is often, in many relationships, it is more common than not, that there is one person who does more, either physical tasks or emotional management of tasks, and the other person who is, there's sort of a leader and a follower. This is not a sexy dynamic. No one wants to get busy with their parent or their boss, generally speaking. So you want to work to create as much fairness and balance going through the holidays as you can, so that resentment, anger, frustration doesn't build into your holidays. Okay. So going back to outside influences, those 3 circles represent, this was the graphic that I could find that best represented it, the 3 components with outside influences. 2 of those circles are you and your partner. Any circle outside of the 2 of you is an outside influence. That 3rd circle could be your kids, it could be your jobs, it could be your parents, it could be your office, it could be your neighbors and their party, it could be alcohol, it could be money, it could be anything. You want the 2 of you to be together with this thing circling around you. In the holidays, in the busyness and in the visiting and in the all of that, it tends to be that the 2 of us grow apart, and that 3rd thing comes between us. And that's where damage can occur. You guys want to have a plan to balance what your family, coworkers, neighbors, friends want versus what your relationship needs. And this is tricky. It requires proactive communication to understand what are the components of this. Where do you get pulled so that you throw me under the bus or choose your family over me? What happens in you so that you get pulled in that direction? And what happens to you when you see me with my family, or you see me going, at the office party, and I'm like living it up and leaving you behind? What happens for you, and how do we proactively address that so you don't feel left behind, you don't feel judged, you don't feel shamed for spending time with your family, enjoying yourself with your family, even though your partner doesn't like your family? How do you support each other in getting what you need? You want to protect each other from harm from that outside influence as well. If you have a family member that is a little insensitive to your partner, you want to figure out what your partner needs to feel protected by you, because one of your big jobs is keeping each other safe from the outside world, emotionally, in your relationship, so that you both experience feeling chosen over your family members or your coworkers or whatever. Are there times that you are going to choose to spend time with them? Yes, of course, but there are ways to prepare for that so that your partner doesn't feel like you love your family more than you love me. And that's what the work is to doing. Beliefs, meanings, and expectations. Couples do not spend time to be clear on what the holiday means to us and what we want out of them. So you're going to want to, and again, the worksheet or the guide that I will be sending you following this training, for those of you that are watching the recording, you've got it in front of you. You can walk through and answer all of these questions to figure it out. What do the holidays mean to your partner? Are they tied to family traditions? Are they tied to faith and community? Gratitude and generosity? Are they a time to kick back and celebrate the year being over? Why does it matter? Why do you care? Why is this important to talk about? You want to understand, for example, if for your partner, getting to the end of the year is a place of celebration and they want to take the break, the time off to really celebrate the work that they put into the calendar year, the money they earned, the sales they had, whatever it is, they want to feel that they want to spend time in savoring their accomplishments and their well-earned rest. And as part of that, they really want to go to the huge fancy office party that is thrown, and they want to live it up. It's very important to them to feel like they get to do that after the hard work of the year. Knowing that will help the partner that hates the party, doesn't like that their partner whoops it up and gets really loud and crazy at the office party, because they now understand what that's about for their partner. When we understand the meaning, the feeling, the experience for our partner of the event, of the hobby, of the activity, of the rest, it helps us access our love and care and support for that person, rather than just feeling like, geez, you're annoying when you go to the holiday party. Geez, you're insensitive when you go down and lose yourself in your music room for hours. If you understand this has a meaning, this has a purpose, and it's really important to my partner, it's easier to access care and talk about it, and talk about the strain that may place on your relationship, and have a plan about it. And you want to do this mutually and reciprocally for each other. Okay. Travel. One of the benefits and the challenges of the holidays is going places, is seeing people, is having people over and getting to experience your family, your home. But it is beneficial to the individual, and it's beneficial to the relationship, and it's challenging to the individual and to the relationship. It's both. Balancing the needs of these three unique and equally important units, you, your partner, and your relationship, is equally important. It's critical to your health and as individuals and as a couple. So how do you stay grounded? The questions to consider with each other is, how do you stay grounded in your relationship in a totally new environment? How do you stay grounded moving through an airport when your partner was trained to run like the wind through the airport, and the other person was taught to get there really early and get a coffee and relax at the airport, in the holidays craziness, but to take it slowly. How do you stay grounded in your relationship and your connection when you have two totally different needs? Do you take time to plan for the challenges, the changes that occur as a result of being in different place and time? Or do you just wing it and end up in conflict over the changes and over the stress or the behaviors that change as a result of that new environment? What are the differences in your needs in each area? And do you make room to care for them? So if your partner normally goes to bed really early and during the holidays they stay up late, or when they go home they stay up late, or when they're friends or when they're hosting they stay up late, how do you adapt to that and support that for each other mutually? So these are the questions to contemplate. And then finally, the last challenge. Oh, look at that. The video worked. There's a dude doing the dishes. The holiday multiplies our responsibilities when we most need and crave rest and joy. We have more responsibilities around the holidays, unless you don't celebrate any of them and it's just time off, in which case you can skip this section. What do you believe about the addition of the tasks and chores, and how do you attend to it? Some people feel unequivocally that the holidays are about rest and they shouldn't have to do chores. They want to enjoy the meals, but they shouldn't have to contribute to the meals. Not really my problem. Sort of feel that way, while other people feel like, hey, if you're going to eat the food, you need to help make the food, or you need to clean up the food if you're going to participate in that. So there can be a lot of struggle in the beliefs, in how you were raised, of there are gender roles that orient toward this. There are enjoyment areas. Some people like doing dishes. Some people like cleaning. There are different ways of orienting to this, and it's important, again, to understand it so that you can work with what is and create something that feels okay to both of you. Does it feel fair, balanced, and equitable to each of you? If either of you are struggling with it not feeling fair, balanced, or equitable, you have a problem. Couples will say regularly, it's not my problem, it's their problem. If she doesn't like it, oh, well, not my problem. Well, if you're in a relationship, it is your problem, because if your partner is unhappy, you're going to feel the effects of that, either by the lack of positive connection or by the addition of struggle and fighting, criticism, shame, difficulty, distance, disconnection, lack of affection. You're going to pay for it. So you can proactively address it and create fairness and enjoy the benefits of that, or you can hold to your position of, it's not my problem, I don't care. If it feels unfair, so what? And pay for it in other ways. That's your choice. So you want to invest the time in making sure it feels fair to both of you, so that you both feel taken care of. So how do you address differences in beliefs about what needs to get done and what can be dropped? This is another place of challenge where that feeds the unfairness. People have different standards around cleanliness or around hosting. My husband and I struggle around this because when I have people over, I want to go all frickin' out. I love cooking for people. I love having fancy plates and dishes and arrangements of food, a big fancy charcuterie platter and flowers and all that sort of stuff. And he's like, happy to get a frozen, that's a little bit of an exaggeration, meal and throw it on a paper plate. No bueno. Understanding this and deciding what do we do with this is important, because he wants to support me and he thinks some of my levels of interest in hosting, being a Ina Garten or something, he thinks a little crazy. And so he'll participate in it to a level. And then he's like, this is chaos. And if you really want to do this, this is on you, because I don't think it's healthy for us. I don't think it's good, but I love that. So I happily take that on. That doesn't actually feel unfair to me because it is my choice. It is something that I love to do. And he's a trooper, and he does a lot of cleaning up. And we have 4 kids, so we make them clean up. So you can address these fairly and proactively, or spend time cleaning up the mess for not doing so. Those are your options. You want to acknowledge when you own part of the imbalance and when you benefit from part of that imbalance, when there is a overfunction or underfunction in relationship, both people are participating in that, because in order for there to be that dynamic, there needs to be an overfunctioner for there to be an underfunctioner, and there needs to be an underfunctioner for there to be an overfunctioner. People like to say it's not my fault, it's their fault. You're both participating in it. So you have to look at not only what you're doing or not doing, but what am I doing and not doing? And what is my choice? How am I participating in this? How am I doing on time? Okay. All right. So now we're going to do another grounding exercise. And again, so I'm going to pause in places, but I encourage you, if you're doing this exercise, you can maybe listen to the instructions here and then hit pause and do it yourselves, or you can just listen and go through it as you go through it. And those are the homemade candies that we make. It's one of our family traditions, our chosen family tradition. We make, it's, I think in Iceland, they make chocolate and they eat chocolate and read books on Christmas Eve. And so we exchange, everybody gets a new book, and I make homemade chocolates. So that's a picture of our homemade chocolates. So take a minute now, face each other, and breathe together. Again, with a relaxed gaze. Just come back into the space. Let go of all the information that's just come into your brain and breathe together. And now, as opposed to earlier today when I had you think of something that you love to do, I want you to bring to mind your partner's favorite part of the holiday. What do you know about them that they love? Is it the food? The music, the time with family, the traditions? Imagine it in your mind. Bring to mind your partner experiencing their favorite part of the holiday. Fill in all the details of that favorite thing and imagine them as happy as possible in that moment. What are they doing in your mind, and how do they look? How can you tell in your mind that they're having the best time? Are they laughing? Are they singing? Are they being goofy? Are they so relaxed? Are they so in connection? Do they look most like themselves? How can you tell? Is it on their face and their movements and their voice? How can you tell? So fill in all the details in your mind. Really imagine it. And then feel in your own body and your breath as you acknowledge having helped create that happiness. So maybe you encourage them to sing in this image. Maybe you made some of the food that they're enjoying. Maybe you welcomed their family or went to their family home. You helped create that. So bring that into your body, that you helped make their happiness possible. And in your mind, see their gratitude for your support. And notice how you feel as you imagine your partner happy. Notice what you feel as you look at them and you see them at their happiest. Notice the connection you feel to each other as you imagine them in their happiness, in their happiest, and you imagine having helped them create that. This exercise is always possible for you. Either one, where you bring to mind an aspect of something that happened the day before and what was fun about it, or you imagine into your partner enjoying the heck out of an interaction or an event. You can take a minute each day and do this grounding exercise as a point of connection for your relationship. And I encourage you to do this every day that you are home for the holidays, as a point of reconnecting into who you each are and what makes you the happiest. Even in your mind's eye, this brings love, connection, gratitude back to you, no matter what else is going on. Maybe start with a day when you feel fine. And then keep practicing it and notice it on a day when you don't feel fine. You feel irritated about the night before, or you're tired, or you're grumpy. Do it anyway. You take time every day to brush your teeth or wash your face or go to the bathroom. You can take a minute and do this for your relationship. Okay. So now, having connected, and there was intentionality in having you breathe together before we do some work, you're going to grab the pre-worksheet that you completed prior to coming today, to whenever you're watching this, if you're not here live. And you're going to look at it together and pick an area to work on. This could be fairness. This could be housework. This could be hosting. This could be traveling. This could be family. Pick an area that feels sort of mid-range in the challenge area, but something you want to address and work on together. And going back and forth, taking turns, no interrupting, taking turns, share your hopes for that experience this year for your partner. I want you to feel supported by me around my family this year. Identify something that you want your partner to have. Not for you. I want to feel more supported. This is the focus on putting your partner's experience first. And there's a reason for this. Watch what happens when you do this. Focus on what you want to give to your partner this year. I want you to feel more supported. I want you to feel more relaxed. I want you to feel more like it's fair. Make a hope and a wish and go back and forth. Next, share your goals. I'm going to pause. I realized I'm going too fast. I'm going for the people who are pausing. So go back and forth. And just share one or two things that you want for your partner this year and what you're going to do to contribute to it. Okay. If you need more time, just hit pause. Or if you're watching this live, come back and do it a second time. Next, share your goals for your experience as a couple in this area. I want us to have time together, just us. And I want us to feel like a team. Make space for emotions that come up. Reach out a hand, offer a hug, smile, but just share one or two things that you each want to experience in your relationship through this holiday season. Third, what are your challenges as individuals that will make this tricky? Share these for yourself rather than your partner. I get overwhelmed and shut down. I spend too much time on my phone when I'm tired. I eat too much and then I feel sick and have to take a nap, and I leave you with the kids. Your mom drives me crazy and I just don't handle it well. What are your challenges as individuals? This isn't for discussion. This is just going back and forth. Just share. Okay. Next. What are your challenges as a couple? Now you use the pronoun we. We get locked into our individual experiences and do not connect. We get bogged down in the details and fight over stupid shit. What are your challenges? We are stubborn. Again, no discussion, just sharing. Sorry, my light. I just hit my light and turned on. Okay, next. What is your individual focus this year to work differently with this? What will you do? And this is, again, back to your individual, what you are each going to do, what you each are going to focus on. What will you do to support the hopes and goals you have? How can you support your partner? So choose one thing each. If your partner's goal is to feel, if your goal for your partner is to feel supported by you around your family, what is your focus going to be? What is one thing you can do to make them feel supported? Choose one thing each. Choose something realistic, attainable, simple. I'm going to set a boundary with my mom around jokes. I'm going to intervene and make sure my partner has time away from my family. I'm going to send them out on a run so that they get a break from my family. Something you can do. And you have the worksheets that's going to take you into more specific areas in each of these areas. So you will have the opportunity to go a bit deeper into each of these areas, but this is the beginning work. And as you'll see, this is taking like 5 minutes to go through this process. And it's taking 5 minutes because I'm encouraging you not to do a big, long, drawn out struggle around this. I'm looking for you to identify something you are going to work on that you believe will make your partner feel supported. It's not a throwaway thing to just go through the motions and I'll just do this thing. It is, I want my partner to be happy. And so I'm going to do this thing to make them feel happier, supported. Okay. And then what is your couple focus this year? You want to have more time together. What will you do to achieve this? What supports do you need? If your goal is to navigate challenges with more cooperation, more collaboration, rather than conflict, what supports do you need? Code words to highlight, all right, if we need a break, we'll use the word bananas, a timer, an agreement, plans, who's doing what are you going to work toward? Make it simple and achievable to achieve the focus you have on your relationship. Got some good. So I've got a number of questions. Okay. And what, okay, I was about to ask the question again. All right. So come back to this if you need to review and do more. And you can go back through this with each different area. And again, the workbook that you have will guide you through these in deeper levels. All right. So now we're going piece by piece through the different challenges and the ways to support your relationship in those and support each other. So outside influences, your family members, your coworkers, your friends, whoever you're visiting, outside parties, all that sort of stuff, the things that threaten to get between you and your partner, between your relationship and these outside influences. So what are the things, people and pressures outside of your relationship that come between you? Take a minute to think of the things in the holidays that tend to get between you two and cause a fracture between your relationship. Talk about it together and agree on, yeah, it's your family. My family doesn't really do that. You agree? Yes, I agree. Work does it. The kids definitely do it. Or our friends definitely do it. Your friend Bobby really does it. Oh yeah, he does really. So create a list by taking turns listening and sharing. And then first, with that list, decide how you want it to be. How do you want it to feel? I want us to feel united. I want us to both feel excited about going out dancing with Bobby and Frank. I love the names that I make up. I want us to feel united about that. And so we need to figure out how to navigate, because Bobby, does all these substances and he gets a little crazy and I get caught up in the moment. So how do we support each other in that? How do you want it to feel? And share a statement describing how you want it to feel in positive terms. And I say this because often couples lead with the negative. I don't want you to blah, blah, blah. Or I don't want us to fight. Or I don't want to feel bad. And stating things in positive terms really helps us orient to what we want rather than what we don't want. This is a little bit of sort of what we think about, we multiply or whatever it's a little bit woo-woo for me, but there is a little bit of sort of science and acknowledgement that there is some of that we create our own reality. So focusing on the positive and what you want helps you move in that direction. So phrasing how you want it to feel helps you move in that area. So I want us to feel connected when we go out with Bobby and Frank to go dancing. I want us to have fun together. And next, share something you can do to contribute to that. I can hold your hand when we're in the club. I can focus on dancing with you, whatever it is. Identify what you can do to contribute to creating that experience that you describe. And then ask for feedback from your partner. How does that sound? If I did that, would that feel good? Would that feel helpful? Would you feel more connected with me when you go out dancing with Bobby if I held your hand? I'm making something stupid up. Ask for feedback. How would that feel? For the person that is receiving that offer, provide feedback in a positive frame. And again, here's the focus on keeping it positive, because it helps feed the relationship rather than pull you apart. Thank you for thinking of that. And what would feel even better is with a simple act that is attainable from where you are at now and where your partner is at now. Holding hands is good. Thank you for offering to hold my hands. That's an awesome idea. And I think what would feel even better is us just maintaining eye contact and having a signal if I need to go, or Bobby's getting to be a little too much, and us having a plan. That would feel even more supportive, rather than, no, that won't work. What difference would holding my hand make? There's a totally different energy to it. And your partner will stay open and receptive when you deliver the feedback in that way. And your other partner will feel better taken care of if you make an offer rather than them telling you what they want. So that is why I am framing it in this orientation. Set each other up for success, moving closer to providing what you want and crave. So it's easy to say, I want you to do this, 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 and this. But if you're at one thing today, going to a 10 isn't reasonable, and it sets you up for failure. The benefit, if you guys are at a 2 out of 10, with struggle or with happiness, getting from a 2 to a 3 is improvement. And I want you to focus on we're making small, measurable, attainable improvements, because that will encourage you to keep working on it. If you expect something that isn't really attainable, even though you really crave it, you really want to feel fully embraced and fully supported, and you feel zero embraced and zero supported right now, it's understandable that you crave full support. Is it attainable? Probably not. And going for it is just going to make you feel hopeless and discouraged and not really invested in trying. So setting attainable goals and encouraging through positive feedback those attainable goals will help you stay engaged with the process of growing and learning together. All right. So after you've done it once, take a short break and switch places. And I'm going to pause and go through it again for the people that are live. So for those that aren't live, just hit pause, rewind, do it again. Okay, I'm back. So we're going to go on to the next one. So that's outside influences. So now, beliefs and meanings. Again, you're going to take turns, and this is the practice. And hopefully in going through these 4 areas and taking turns, you get the vibe, you get the practice, you get the feeling of doing this, and you are developing a skill and a muscle toward a listening and communicating way that is more effective. So I'm sneaking in an additional exercise. And for those of you that are, well, all of you are getting a bonus listening exercise that I created. So again, taking turns, talk about the meaning of the holidays to each of you. As you listen to your partner without interrupting, you can ask questions once they finish talking, but you want to just listen. Take notes of the parts that are most important to your partner. And the way you'll be able to tell is when they get really excited or they light up. We get overly fixated on verbal communication, and there's way more information. It's like 65% of communication is nonverbal. So really closely pay attention to how they look, and that will tell you what is most important to them based on their tone of voice, their volume, the speed that they're talking, their movements will tell you when they're really engaged, really themselves, really happy. And ask questions to make sure you have a full understanding. Is it the experience of the meals or events? Is it the historical, religious, or cultural meaning of the holiday? Is it about family? Is it about joy, fun, celebration? What is it about to them? And make sure you have the understanding to fully support your partner, because that meaning really drives all of their behaviors and needs, all their choices, all their feelings. You really want to have a deep understanding for that. Reflect what you hear and validate the meaning to them. I hear you and understand that being with family is the most important to you in the holidays. And then check, do I have that right? And then as you have been listening, too much talking. You guys are like, tell me about it. You really are talking too much. Okay. And this is a good pause. You're going to share an action you can take to show you understand and support it. So now that you know that your partner is really most invested, most connected to the family aspect of the holiday, you can say, I will work to be distraction-free when we're having family time so you feel connected to family in this time. Be specific in your behavior, what you're going to do, be clear, and be realistic. And then set systems in place to honor your commitment. Do not promise something you cannot do, or you will not do, or that your brain won't support you in doing. Because the worst thing you can do is promise something you're not going to give. Do not make promises. Do not make offers that you're actually not going to follow through on. That is very damaging and very harmful to your relationship. So think of things you can do and will do, and then write it down and figure out a system to help you. And you can support each other in doing these things. You can ask for, will you remind me that your parents are coming later that afternoon so I can go and get flowers like I said I was going to? Yes, I can remind you when they're coming. Thank you. Thank your partner for sharing. Receiving partner, the partner that has the partner that is receiving the offer of care and the offer of here's what I'm going to do. Thank your partner for listening to you, reflecting, and making that offer. You can do the, check in if that feels good, and you can do the yes and thank you and positively frame the feedback about what they've offered. And then again, I'm going to pause. I'm going to pause it here for you guys and take my people through it. You guys just go through it a second time. Okay. So lastly, no, not lastly, we have two more. Travel and hosting. If you're traveling or hosting this year, take some time to create a plan to support each other. Again, you're going to take turns. Share what you're most looking forward to. I can't wait to go back to New York to see my family. So excited to be in New York City and see the lights and the blah, 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 blah. Take turns doing that. Next, take turns hearing your worries and stress. Dealing with JFK is an absolute nightmare, and it makes me so cranky to deal with the crowds. Okay. I'm really dreading the plane ride with the kids. That's going to be terrible. Whatever it is, share your worries and concerns. I'm worried we're going to fight, whatever it is. Share, listen, reflect. Next, each ask, taking turns to listen and understand. What do you need from me? What do you need from me to feel supported in traveling or hosting? Once you hear that from them, what do you need? Offer your partner 2 to 3 simple and clear things you can do to support them. Again, simple and clear. I'm talking about things that take you less than 5 minutes. I want it to be attainable. I want you to do what you absolutely know you can do. Can you do more that you haven't offered? Yes, you definitely can. And I encourage you to do that. And I promise you, if you get good at doing these tiny things that maybe feel even a little bit unsatisfying, if you feel gratitude from your partner from doing them, that is what's going to set you up for wanting to do more. So there's a method to my madness of saying, all right, we'll offer to bring her a cup of coffee when what she really wants is you to cook the turkey. There is a method to that madness. That's a crazy, insane example, but there's a method to that. Because if you get good at appreciating and recognizing what your partner is doing, and you notice feeling better about some effort being made, your partner is going to feel invested in doing more. Chances are, if you guys struggle around this, there's a lack of appreciation that is coming through. There's a frustration that's coming through, and it imbibes everything. It infuses everything. And I am trying to slowly, bit by bit, build positivity and gratitude back into things. So 2 to 3 things to support your partner in travel and hosting. Why did I pick 2 to 3 when in previous ones it was one thing? Travel and hosting, you've got a lot of moving parts. So that's an area where I believe you can, and I believe you should. I believe it is good for your relationship to take 2 to 3 things. And in this, you want to offer what you can give. So realistically, what you can give. But I want to make the clarification that is true for all of these. You want to give what you can, not just what is convenient and easy. So I don't want you to hear that in doing something that's realistically and small, that you can get out of doing something hard. If you think your relationship should not be work and you shouldn't have to sacrifice anything, you're not in an adult relationship, because committed relationships take a fair amount of work, take a lot of work, and they take a fair amount of sacrifice. We don't get to do everything we want to do all the time if we are a decent human being. And there's my soapbox about that. Okay. Checking on what you offered and whether it feels supportive to your partner, ask for feedback. Tell me how that feels. So again, you're asking that question. As the partner receiving the offer of support, focus on your gratitude at the offer. Thank you for that. And what would feel even better is, same old phrase, adding a simple and clear way they could enhance their support to you. And I mentioned this before, Well, we all want a 10 level of support, remembering to be grateful that from moving from a 2 to a 3 level is what is healthy for your growth as a couple. All right. So again, I'm going to pause. I'm going to drink some water while I pause and come back. What helps if I actually pause? Okay. Lastly, fairness and equity. This is a big one for couples around this time of year, and it usually taps into, as do all of these areas, taps into areas of struggle that go bigger than. I'm looking at my neighborhood's gotten sketchy, and they're often like Amazon trucks that get stuff gets, whatever, the porch pirates. So I was watching. Anyway, sorry. Fairness and equity. These usually tap into struggles that already exist and exacerbate them. So it's an important area and it's a sensitive area. So you want to know that going into this conversation. So as we've talked about, as you all probably know very easily, holidays pack a whole pile of additional tasks and put additional pressure on your relationship and on, your time and your free time. And you mix that with the differences between you in terms of what you value in your time on vacation or time off of work. And it can cause feelings of imbalance and unfairness in your household duties. I named this before. Both people in a relationship feed the dynamics around fairness. And it's easy to focus our energy on what the other person does that is not fair, is not helpful, is not supportive, but we also have a role to play. And it is healthier for your relationship to focus on what you're doing than to be pointing the finger at your partner. It elicits less defensiveness to focus on yourself. And it helps your partner see that it's safe to be vulnerable and admit mistake and all this sort of stuff. It also models really healthy things for your kids. And if you don't have kids, for your community. Okay. For your relationship, taking turns, and I hope you have alternated who goes first and who doesn't. What are the areas that feel embarrassed and unfair to your partner? So bring something to mind. They feel like they do more of the dishes. They feel like they have to ask me things 4 times before I'll do things, and that doesn't feel fair. They feel like they carry the mental load. They feel like they always pay the bills, et cetera, et cetera. And now, with honesty and acknowledgement, where do you do less than your partner? Maybe you play less with your kids. Maybe you do less yard work. I do less yard work. I do less grocery shopping. I hate the grocery store. Acknowledge where you do less than your partner. And there are areas that both of you do less. I worry less about our relationship than my partner. That's not me. I worry more. I have anxiety, so there you go. Anyway, notice the areas. And if you are the partner that sees themselves doing more everywhere, you can't think of a single area where you do less. What are you doing to contribute to this dynamic? And this oddly may feed this in a different way. You may do less sharing than your partner of the dynamics. You may do less what's the word? Acquiescence is what I'm releasing than your partner. Your partner may be more chill about how things get done, and you do less of that, relinquishing control. So there are areas that you do less. But what do you get out of that dynamic? If you truly do more than your partner in everything, what do you get out of that dynamic? And next, what can you do to positively shift this dynamic? I can do more dishes. I can let my partner take the reins with this. I can encourage them rather than criticize them. I can actually follow through on what I say I'm going to do. I can proactively ask for stuff to be done. I can proactively look for ways to be helpful. There are a million ways. So think of something you can do to positively shift the dynamic. Honestly share your participation in the dynamic. I let you do more than you should because I know you will. Because I'm afraid of conflict, because I'm afraid of criticism. I feel like you're going to think I do it wrong. I just do it because you're not going to get around to it. And I don't want to, I'd rather get it done before, honestly, I want the dishes done before I go to bed. And so even though I've asked you to do them, I do them anyway because I just want them done. Honestly, look at your participation in the dynamic. And when it's your turn to be sharing, you're going to share. And finally, how can you gratefully receive your partner's efforts in this area? And listen when your partner's done sharing all of this. Listen, reflect, and express gratitude for your partner's efforts in this area and their vulnerability. And so then make a plan in what you can do to support each other in taking the actions you commit to. Okay. And again, express gratitude. Okay. So we are at, oh, wait, let me go back. We got to take turns. So I'm going to pause and give you a chance to flip it around and take turns. We're going to be done. Okay. So now we are at almost exactly 90 minutes. Your commitment to your plans. You have spent 90 minutes learning and working together to create something new and better this year. Do a wave. High five each other. Quite literally, very good for you to do. Encourage high fives, as goofy as that sounds. So now, to close it down, again, facing each other and gently looking at each other, internally, quietly, to yourself, reflect on what you've learned. And taking turns, share your hopes for how it could be different. Just share one thing. I hope you feel more supported this year. I hope you have more fun. I hope I'm more encouraging of you this year. And offer care for each other. A hug, some love, some gratitude. I'm really committed to doing this together. So offer statements of care to each other. And as the final, perhaps most important note, commit to doing more than just attending this course, this workshop, to really have this work. Creating difference, creating newness, requires real and meaningful change in little actions. Attending a workshop isn't going to change anything unless you integrate that workshop into your daily life, unless you practice these things. I wish I was magic enough that you could just attend a workshop and all your problems were fixed. I would be a gajillionaire and I would be the happiest person ever. More importantly, but I can't. Real change requires real change. Wow, that's profound. And it comes through little actions. So here's the secret formula. Get up each day, commit, and then follow through. Some days that will be huge. You will make huge things. You will be hugely supportive. Other days you'll have a headache. The kids will be annoying. Your work will be calling, whatever it is that's going on. And it'll be little things. But don't ever let a day go by where you're not contributing to the health of your relationship and the happiness of your partner. You will thank me if you do that. So even if it's a hug or a silly text or whatever, do something to enhance your partner's experience of the holidays in little actions. Remember, imperfect action is better than none. And I say that to both the person doing the perfect action and the person seeing the imperfect action. Recognize the effort, be grateful for the effort and the vulnerability that effort requires. You want to encourage that. This is repetitive. See the effort and always look for the best in each other. Always be grateful. Isn't this what the holidays are for? Isn't that what all of the cheesy Hallmark movies teach us? The Lifetime movies, the holiday movies it's all about sort of the hero's story. You want to create your own hero's story, whether it's the prince. Anyway, these silly Netflix movies. So this is the 90 minutes. Now I leave you with your homework. I changed all my colors to holiday colors. So what's next? Taking this home. So the minimum, I want you to do the 5-minute guided eye gazing once a day. I'm sending it to you. Do it once a day, or either of the ones that we did in class tonight. I want you to do that once a day. It's the minimum. If you do that every day, you will notice a difference. What I recommend, acts of care each day. Create a list of things you can do that contribute to your partner's happiness every day. Taking them coffee, making them a cinnamon apple drink, hanging the lights, wrapping a package, offering to make dinner, suggesting a place to go skiing, whatever it is. What can you do each day that contribute to your partner's experience of happiness over the holidays? 5 minutes a day. It's all it takes. And then if you want to supercharge your relationship, do a daily check-in. How am I doing? I tried to do this thing over here. I want to know if it worked. Did it help? Did it feel good? Did you like it? And listen and be grateful for the feedback that you get. Again, that's another 5 minutes. I do not want you beating the shit out of the conversation. I want you to remain grateful and connected and positive through that. But doing that, checking in, will help inform what you do the next day. And it will build and build and build. Okay, that's it for me. I have a bunch of questions. I'm going to pause because it is 90 minutes. So the people I can talk